Oop.
Greetings, Internet. Welcome to But I'm Still a Good Person by Vince Nicholas. I'm Vince Nicholas. I'm joined by my sparkling wifey, Carolyn Nicholas.
Hello.
Hello, honey. Thank you for joining me in our bedroom. Yes, we're lying in our bed for our little program here. Okay, so let's get into it.
Oop.
So I was at Dollar Tree today. And when you're at Dollar Tree, like every Dollar Tree, I go into many Dollar Trees in the Sacramento area. And they always have, because everyone likes Dollar Tree because the inflatable balloons, they're $1. Well, now it's $1.25. First of all, $1.25, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you put that 25 cents and then taxes 10 cents, give or take, around where we are in Sacramento. So then that's 13 cents on top of the $1.25, which is $1.38. It's like $1.50 each item now. That adds up after 4 or 5 items. You're like, this is getting rough out here. But I was at Dollar Tree, and everyone likes their are they Mylar balloons? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, the inflatable balloons that girls would get each other in middle school for their birthday. Like, if it was a girl's birthday, then 6 other girls would get her like 4 balloons or 5 balloons that she would have to carry around all day. Those were good times. Did you guys do that at your school?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dollar Tree, you walk in, and people like their Mylar balloons, and you walk in, and they always have, depends on which Dollar Tree, but some Dollar Trees have like 50 balloons already inflated up on the ceiling, and they kind of have like a border set around so they don't fly all over the store, but they're there, and the strings come down so you can grab one, and it's quite the sight. I take a lot of pictures of them. It's kind of cool to see 50 balloons up on the ceiling with all their strings hanging down. It's a cool visual. It's like Big Fish. Tim Burton. Ever hear of it? When who's Evan? No.
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor sees
the blonde
girl at first, and like everything stops. It's a good moment. Good movie magic. But so you walk in, and if you need a happy birthday balloon, you grab a happy birthday. If you need a Valentine's Day balloon, they got those during Valentine's Day. Happy baby balloon or whatever. Grab one of those. And it just makes things easy.
You grab it, you pay for it, you go.
Right. But today, someone walked in. Oh, they were ahead of me. A woman. 2 women. And they got 4 balloons that were not inflated. And so, labor shortage, and it was busy. There was a queue behind them. People were waiting. And this is our Dollar Tree. There's a couple in West Sacramento, but the one closest to us, like, if there's a queue, it starts going in the aisle right away. Like, you start standing next to the plates. And by the way, the customers behind me, lack of social distancing. Yeah, the women ahead of me bought 4 balloons that the Dollar Tree cashier had to inflate. And I was like, dude, now this Dollar Tree, our Dollar Tree, there aren't 50 balloons, but there's about 20 balloons that you can just grab and go. I'm grabbing 3 balloons, they'll ring you up and you get, but she was like, she wanted black star balloons. They're stars, they were black, and she wanted 4 of them. And so there's people behind her. There's only 2 cashiers open. Oh, by the way, the other cashier had an old lady who, like, she was going to pay in cash. And she went through her pocketbook, cash and change, didn't have enough. So after trying to find $8 and whatever, 63 cents, she had $8.62 or whatever. So she ended up paying with her card anyway. It was like, come on, old lady. But the moral of the story is, when you walk in, be aware. And if you're going to a happy birthday party, just grab a happy birthday balloon.
I wonder what the event was. 4 black stars.
And 2 happy face emojis.
Oh.
Like 2 smiley balloons.
Hmm.
But those were already blown up. Like one of the women just grabbed those 2. But then the other one wanted 4 black star balloons. And it didn't take forever, but it took time, and the Dollar Tree employees aren't exactly swift. There's not much velocity happening there. And then the other thing is that supply chain shortage or whatever, supply chain issues. Instead of grabbing an I love you balloon and being on your merry way, I've seen people go up to the cashier and say, "Oh, do you have balloon B32?" And then they look into the drawer, being 32. "Oh, no, we're all out." "Oh, okay. Do you have C16?" They're looking to see. "No, we're all." And then it's like, dude, grab a balloon. There's 40 balloons
Just
right
grab
there.
any balloon.
These people, their time is not precious. They have nothing going on.
And oop.
So I was listening to a podcast, Doughboys, which is a fantastic podcast. It actually led to this one. I got sort of inspired. This pays homage, or when I listened to them, I was like, okay, what we can do, what we can do, it can work. Like I saw them as a template or blueprint or whatever, and I was like, okay, that's kind of what. And it's not exactly what they do. They have too many guests, and some of them suck. But that's what happens when you have a guest-based program, interview, podcast, show, whatever. So I was listening to Doughboys, and they got on the topic of eating alone, going out to eat alone. And one of them, well, they both do it. And so it made me think about us, because you've done it, or you used to go to the movies alone, but you also ate out alone, right?
Yeah, I've eaten alone.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Before our torrid love affair started.
Yes.
And our longing and loneliness out there in the cruel, cruel world, honey. So eating out alone, you've done that. Do you have any memories? Did you feel like a loser? Did you choose bar versus counter? Table or whatever versus booth versus countertop?
Some places I would go wouldn't have a counter, so I would just eat at a table.
Did you feel self-conscious?
You know what? I felt very grown up, actually. I felt like an independent adult.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel embarrassed. I felt like I was out there being a grown up in the world.
Yeah.
And oop.
Did you do it often?
Not often. This happened a lot in the years after my divorce and before.
Wait.
Yes.
You used to be married?
Only one time.
Hold on. Stop the pod. Yes, honey. Please continue.
So, like, in those years, like, after I got divorced and then before I started dating you.
Yeah.
So my single adult years, I would eat out. Like, if the kids weren't with me, I would go to a restaurant. I would go to the movies alone a lot. That was my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, you like Tower Theater, right?
I love to go to the Tower Theater on Broadway, Sacramento.
Yeah.
And see a movie. And then
super uncomfortable seats. It's like when you step into the Tower Theater, it's like stepping into a 1970s Cinerama.
I don't think anything has been touched since that theater first opened 60 years ago or whatever. Right. But that's part of the charm.
Sure. Until your ass hurts and you're like, I miss the recliners.
I love Tower Theater. I haven't been there in a very long time.
Yeah.
I would eat alone, but more often I would call, order it, go pick it up, and take it home. Yeah. But there were some times when I would just eat out.
Yeah. I remember when I think about eating alone, I think of, this is way back when I lived with Chuck Johnson in Monterey Park, which is outside of Los Angeles, a suburb of Los Angeles, not too far. And I wanted to go to a hometown buffet for some reason. Well, because I'm a fat person and I wanted to eat a lot for a low price. So I went, I went and bought a newspaper because I figure I'm going to be like one of those guys reading the newspaper. Like, just sitting there alone, staring at my food with my thoughts. And this was before cellular telephones were giant. But I was like, I'm going to read the paper and be like one of those. You see those guys that mostly at like breakfast counters.
Yeah.
They got the paper, they got their coffee, and they're happy go lucky. But so I bought a newspaper. I was wearing denim shorts. Don't hold it against me, honey. And I was wearing a UCLA heather gray T-shirt, and I was in my 20s. Like I remember, like in high school and middle school, especially middle school, I wore college sweatshirts. Did you do that?
Yeah.
I wore like, and it was big for sports too, like Michigan, Notre Dame, their football teams. I did that a lot. But when you're in your 20s and you didn't go to those colleges, it's pretty sad. Anyways, so I got a newspaper, and I got Hometown Buffet. And for those who don't know, Hometown Buffet it's a buffet. It's a coup de grace when it comes to buffet.
Oh yeah.
It's the pinnacle of buffets.
Is it better than Sizzler?
Yeah.
What?
Because Sizzler is like a salad bar, so it's very like it's just there's not as many selections. Like they got the salad bar, then they might have some pasta or some chicken nuggets. It's very limited selection. But Hometown Buffet, like, well, it's in the name, it's in the title. It's purely a buffet. So I went there by myself, and I ate way too much. Did breakfast because I love breakfast. Who doesn't love breakfast? But I ate so much, and to the point where I was in pain, which I do on weekends with you, lover. But yeah, that was and I just felt pathetic and sad and lame.
Did you actually read your newspaper?
Yeah, but it was like I read, but I didn't take in any information.
It's hard for me to read and eat at the same time.
Right.
It's like
yeah.
my brain can't focus on the words, and like I have to like look at my food while I'm eating it.
Yeah.
So I can't do that really.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I just wanted something to. It was like a prop.
It was a prop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm an actor. I'm doing a improv. I'm doing a what are they? Auction? No, audition. I'm doing an audition. Yeah. I just needed something to not seem like a complete loser. Like, oh, this guy's reading about Wall Street and the stock market. So
I don't know why there's a stigma about eating alone or going anywhere alone.
Yeah.
Like, who?
Well, yeah.
Why do we assume that this person's lonely or they can't get any company? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a stigma about that specifically, but I think it's a sign of something bigger, like this person. Although, see, when it comes down to it, like when I was ginormous, I didn't eat out alone, but I did take out so much, and I guess just it was just that visual to me would have been like quote unquote sad. But I think it's a sign. Well, it could be a sign that something bigger is going, or like they're a real loser. And in my case, it was an accurate description. But yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be a stigma. When I see people out to eat alone now, I don't think they're a loser. But well, you know what it comes down to? It comes down to appearance, and if they're very large and in charge. And eating by themselves, a little dicey, a little touch and go. But if they're well put together and dashing and dapper, it's like, oh, that's a businessman who's too busy he's on his lunch break and he's.
I wonder what people thought of me when I used to be alone eating.
Yeah,
because I sometimes I'd like put on makeup, but sometimes I was just like sweats, hoodie.
Would you bring a book, or would you bring a newspaper, or
no?
Or were cellular telephones?
Yeah, my phone.
Okay.
But I wouldn't always constantly be staring at it. Like I said, I can't really read and eat at the same time. But yeah, I'd look at my phone.
Yeah.
Or not always.
I guess, well, now you could just scroll and just endlessly stare at your phone. But I did counter is like for loners, right? The counter is for, well, it's for guys who want coffee and a newspaper. But I also, my other memory is at Perco's, which is in Rosemont, just off Highway 50. I went there on New Year's Day, and they serve beer 24/7. And so I was like, well, it's New Year's and I'm going to get a beer. And it was New Year's morning. I was getting breakfast. It was whatever it was.
Beer and breakfast.
7 a.m. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm going to get a beer because I'm an adult and I'm a man. I can do what I want. And I ordered a comically large beer for whatever reason. I don't know if it was 24 ounce or 32 ounce, but it was like
a holiday.
it was a holiday, like the Madonna song. And it was a giant mug. And I was like, okay, I'm a real man, and I drank that beer. I drank a little of it. I had a few sips, and I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? This is so lame and pathetic and dumb. Well, it harkens back to my hometown buffet. What about movies alone, honey? There's definitely, because you're in the dark. And I guess you could look around and see someone, but movies alone, there's I think much less stigma because you're in the dark, and a movie's different. Like you're not like a dinner. You can chat and have conversation.
I think dinner is more of a social event.
Yeah,
like going to a meal at a restaurant, but going to a movie can be more of just like a solo experience.
Yeah,
you don't have to be with a group because you're not supposed to be talking anyway.
Yeah,
although it is fun, of course, to go to movies with people. I love going to the movies alone.
Yeah.
I love it. It's
one
of my favorite things to do. I haven't done it in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Especially like sometimes I saw a couple like very serious movies or like very sad movies. And so I would go and then I could just like sit in the theater by myself in silence and just kind of think about it, process it. And I didn't have that pressure to like talk to somebody or I don't know. I like doing things alone in general. So maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
And movies, like, you go to Perco's, there's anything you want it's very generalized menu, very huge audience. If you go there, you can, it serves many taste buds. But movies, it's like you might be the only person who wants to see like a serious movie or a girly chick movie or whatever. But when I think of movies alone, I think of Dominic Brascia. So we started going to the movies like once a week because he was in movies. He loved going to the movies. He loved the whole thing. But I found out quickly there's not 52 good movies a year, but he wanted to go every flipping weekend. And so I was like, dude, like, I don't want to see a movie 4 times a month, every single week. And so, but he loved it. He would order pizza. They have the like little personal pan pizza that he would get and eat during the trailers, by the way. And so I was just like, I'm not feeling a movie every week. And then there was the other thing of like, I wonder about the optics of this older gentleman and me. Did people think we were a couple?
Maybe.
Father and son.
Yeah.
Which one? I don't think they would think we're buddies, or maybe they did. It was.
Well, that's what you were.
Yeah. Sure. The visuals were odd with him, and then I also thought, well, at that point, that was when I started losing a bunch of weight, and so I was like, who cares about movies, dude? Like, I want to go to bars and I want to go clubbing, and he was not about that because, well, he was an older man, like I said, so I started kind of pulling myself away from him, and he was just a nut job in general. He's just an odd cat, as I say as I stare at our cat Frankie, who's laying here. But he was a trip, and so I started distancing myself from him and hanging out with the great Stephen Alston, who I met through basketball.
Oh.
And we would go to the Onyx Club in downtown Roseville. Have you been there, honey?
No.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Oh, it was on and popping. Every weekend, every Saturday for a few months. And that's when I first went to Rockies in Citrus Heights. The great nightclub. Rockies in Citrus Heights. So yeah, but that was when I would still want to go to the movies once in a while. And still I would still want to review a movie for Armstrong Getty. And so it became kind of awkward between me and him, because like I was going to these movies without him, and I'd have to like come up with excuses.
Why didn't you still go occasionally with him?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, I don't want to say that.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Tell me later.
Yeah, he was an interesting fellow, if you will.
And oop.
And then the other thing I thought about with dining alone was like we said, we could do pickup, but I would do drive-through, and this was when I was very, very overweight. But I would do the bang bang, or the bang bang bang, or the bang 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 in my car. So I would do drive-through, get some food, eat it while driving around, and then I would need to dispose of this trash. And this was before Sacramento became littered, for lack of a better pun, or pun intended, for lack of a better word, littered with homeless tents and trash and refuse everywhere. But so I would throw the bag in the containers of the burgers or whatever in my back seat, and so it would it never got out of control. Like I never had McDonald's bags piled to the ceiling, but I would have 2-3 meals worth of bags in my backseat. Yes.
That reminds me of when I was pregnant with Luna.
Mm-hmm.
And I craved donuts. And so I lived right next to Donut Time on Kiefer Boulevard.
Yeah.
So so often I would go get a donut, and it comes in a white paper bag.
Right.
The backseat of my car had a huge pile of white paper bags.
Oh dear.
From Donut Time.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of that.
And oop.
Well, I remember I used to drive around, because I did this in Los Angeles also, and I'd be like, there are no public trash cans.
No, there really aren't.
Where are they?
There's none.
Why not? Did there used to be some, or?
They're very rare. I guess the city just doesn't invest in paying the city people to go pick up a bunch of trash.
Oh, okay, so they don't want to pay people to pick up trash, or they don't want to attract people who would throw away trash. But in the end, there's trash debris everywhere nowadays.
Yep.
It's like, we need more public trash cans.
Yes, we do. Make a petition.
And oop.
Okay, now let's get to what we really came for, honey. Well, that's a song, right? Dun, dun, this is what you came for. Dun, dun.
Is that Rihanna?
Everybody say ooh, 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 ooh. So what do you need in this story? You need a setting. And the setting in this story is our condominium gym.
Yes.
We go there. We love it there. We canceled Planet Fitness. We canceled 24-Hour Fitness because our condominium gym is 200 steps from our front door. It's everything we need. It's open. It's not big. Some of the machines are outdated. It's like walking into a fitness museum, but I dig it.
It meets our needs, and we don't pay extra for it.
Right. I just need some dumbbells and a bench. You need a leg machine and some
leg
dumbbells.
machine and some free weights.
Yeah, and we're good to go, and we love it there. Go 4, 5, 6 times a week. So that is the setting of our story. What else do you need in a story, honey? Characters. So let's go through the cast of characters in this story. There's Orange Dumbbell Girl, who carries her own orange dumbbells to the gym. They're 8 pounds, which our gym doesn't have. So she brings her own orange dumbbells. And we've talked to her. We've interacted with her. Seems like a nice person. There's also Vin Diesel, who I call Vin Diesel because he's a shaved, not so attractive man like Vin Diesel, shaved head, ugly guy. He seems like a fine fellow. There's also Tiger King guy, who it looks like Jeff Lowe from Tiger King, the guy who wears the
bandana on his head,
bandana and a leather jacket. And there's also Plank guy. I see him less and less, but he really likes planks, and he's very lanky. He's a lanky man. There's also Suit guy, who doesn't come into the gym, but he walks by at 6:30 a.m. ish.
We see him every weekday morning, walking to work, I guess.
Wearing a suit.
Walking to his car?
With a briefcase.
Yeah.
And it always confounds me that he's wearing a suit, so I assume he's a big shot, or I don't need a suit. I've never needed a suit for my job, so he needs a suit for his job, yet he's walking to a bus or his car, so he's not a resident here, so he has to park on the city street.
Very mysterious.
It's very confounding, but we always see him walk at 6:30 a.m. ish, and we're always like, "Hey, it's Suit guy," who he lost some weight.
Yeah, we both noticed.
But I saw him the other day. I think he gained it back, honey. Well, it's the holidays, honey.
Yeah.
He's New Year's resolution. Okay, so those are our cast of characters. Those are the supporting characters. Now, this is where a mask comes in. We've never had a problem with a mask. Most of those people, Plank guy wears a mask, but I've only seen him a couple times overall. But everyone else doesn't wear a mask. Orange Dumbbell Girl, we've talked to. We walked in, and she said, "Do you guys want me to wear my mask?" And you said, "We don't care." And she said, "Okay, cool." She wasn't wearing one when we walked in. And it's pretty much mask free for us. And Orange Dumbbell Girl and Vin Diesel and Jeff Lowe. The rules say wear a mask.
You're supposed to technically. There are posters everywhere saying
Right.
masks are required
It's
here.
the Yolo County guideline rule. But realistically, most people ain't wearing masks.
We bring one every time we go.
Yeah.
Because if someone wants us to, we'll wear them. But
Right.
if they don't care, then we don't.
Right. Now let's get to the main stars of this story, honey. First one is, we'll call him Steve, because I don't know his name. So Steve is this guy who he's very skinny.
He's very young.
Yeah, I think he's 17.
He's an innocent little child new to the weightlifting world.
Yeah.
We think he's about 17.
Yeah.
Although he could be 30. He could be 12.
Yeah.
We have no idea, but he looks very young.
Yeah.
He seems like a novice.
Yeah. And the first time I saw him, like he came in, was there for 5, maybe 10 minutes and left. I was by myself. And before he left, he said, "Have a good day." And I said, "All right."
He's
And
a
then-
sweet little child.
Yeah. And then the next time I saw him, he had increased his exercise regime. He did more. He did some stuff on mats. He did some bicep curls. And here's where the rubber hits the road, honey. He left, and then there's 2 things happening here. I'm going to say what he said, and then I'll point out the 2 things. He said, Have a good day, man. So, one thing, his voice dropped.
Dropped a couple octaves.
Yeah. He's a bass now. He used to be falsetto, a tenor. But now he's like this. He said, and then he added man on the end. So he's feeling like comfortable.
Yeah.
Like me and him are boys.
It's
We're going to go clubbing like Steve Austin and I used to do. Yes.
It's very heartwarming with this young man because we've watched him over the last couple months. We've just watched him blossom.
He's grown.
He used to come in and literally do one exercise and leave.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he was scared. We intimidated him.
Yeah.
But he keeps adding more and more to his routine.
Yeah.
He's gotten a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem so timid.
Yeah.
And another thing he's been doing recently is he brings his phone and he plays some music on his phone.
Right. Which is so the gym plays Mix 96, which is a radio station in Sacramento, and it's all Christmas during Christmas. So there's Mix 96 playing. How walking along the Christmas tree, and then he's got his phone playing some Middle Eastern-y kind of chanty, kind of whatever, something. And he keeps the volume low, but he also he kind of hums with it. He kind of sings along with it. So it's cute. It's like watching one of your kids grow up. Is it like watching Luna turn into a woman, honey?
It is.
So and then the next time I saw him, we weren't in the gym. We were he was going towards the gym. I was leaving. We were just on the walkway, one of the walkways here in our condo complex. And I said, "Hey man, how's it going?" Something like that. And he goes, "Good." So his voice dropped again.
Oh wow. Okay.
And good, like that. We're homeboys. We're gonna start helping each other move soon. Like that's how tight we is, honey. We're gonna be tipping 40 ounces of Saint-Ides down at the basketball court at the park near our home. Okay, so that's the who's the good guy in a
protagonist?
He's the protagonist. Now let's get to the villain.
Ooh.
So she is an older woman. 50s, would you say?
No.
60s?
60s.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a very fit.
Very fit.
Mid 60s.
Yeah. She has short hair. If you're old like me, she's sort of like a Susan Powter, who is a inspirational, motivational nut job from the 80s who got onto Phil Donahue and stuff. She was a personality, but visually, if you know her, that's sort of what's going on. I would also compare her to the overly tan old lady from There's Something About Mary. The hair is different, and she's not quite as tan, not quite as dark, but just that'll paint the picture for you. Now we've had a run-in with her. So she came in the door. We didn't have masks on. I didn't even have, because that morning we were walking over. Yeah. And you had yours and I forgot mine, slipped my mind or whatever. And I just said, well, screw it. No one's going to be there. And if Orange Dumbbell Girl's there, she won't care. So who cares? So we just went. I didn't have a mask. So, much like when Darth Vader, when the doors split apart in Star Wars and Darth Vader walks into the room, Susan Powter, she opens the door, but she didn't come into the room. She just stayed in the doorway. And she said, she looked at me and she said, "You need to have a mask to be in here." And I said, "All right, listen, I'm not one of those people. I feel the way I feel. But if someone wants me to wear a mask, I DGAF." So I got up right away and I was like, I'll go get a mask.
And my mask was sitting with my towel on one of the machines.
Yeah.
And I had to cross the room, the 10 steps to get across the room. And she repeated herself. And I said, "We know." And then I put mine on. Ooh.
Cat fight. Am I right, Frankie? Wow, I didn't know that part because I had left. So I went, got my mask, came back, walked back in, finished our workout, whatever. That was our one run-in with her. Now, what happened on Monday, I was there alone. You had nightmares. You didn't sleep good. So you stayed in bed. You slept in.
I had a bad dream. I was very tired. Monday morning.
I was there by myself. Steve walks in, and he's Steve. He's doing his thing.
Sweet little Steve.
Darling little Steve. And he's doing his thing, whatever. And I'm doing my thing. Okay. Now, Steve gets on the floor. He puts the mat down and he takes his shoes off. Very courteous. I raised that boy right. Okay. That's my DNA right there. So he's on the floor doing whatever he's doing. Susan Powter, much like Darth Vader entering the room, the doors part. And so Steve is on the floor so he doesn't see her. Steve is unmasked, by the way. I'm unmasked. Oh, okay, yeah. But I have mine around my chin. I always wear mine around my chin now. I see Darth Vader enter the room. My mask comes up right away. Don't worry about it. I don't care. I don't trip. I'm not one of these anti-maskers. I'm not an anti-masker either. If you want me to wear it, I'll wear it. IDGAF. So I pull mine right up, and I'm like, well, Steve doesn't have one. So this is going to be something. So she walks in because when she berated us, she stood in the doorway because we were standing up or sitting down at a machine or whatever. So we could visually see her right away. But Steve was staring at the ceiling. He was doing whatever he was doing on the floor. Maybe a body weight exercise. So Susan Powter, a.k.a. Darth Vader, walks over to Steve. Steve's on the ground, helpless, like a roly-poly on his back, honey. And she looks... Frankie just woke up. He's like, oh, this is the climax of the story. Okay, went back to bed. So she's looking down at him. He's looking up. So it's like a Hype Williams Puff Daddy video when they did the fisheye lens from the ground. So Puff Daddy looked like 1,000,000 feet tall. And she looks at him and she goes, hi. First of all, the greeting. Okay, I give her credit for that. But then she points at him. With her index finger, she points at him. And she said, and she's wearing a mask, obviously, pulled above her nose. Points at our little baby Steve. And she said, you need to have a mask to be in here. And Steve, shocked, dumbfounded, because he didn't have no mask around his chin. He didn't bring one. And so, he's a light talker, young guy. So I wasn't quite registering what he said, but he said something. He mumbled something. And then whatever he said, then she walks over to what is it? Like the pinboard area where my cat has been lost for 8 months. Someone actually did that, right? Yes. They still have their...
So it's a corkboard. People can pin up whatever they want.
Corkboard. But what happened to that guy? Was his name George? And he was missing an orange cat for 8 months?
I'll tell you about that later. Oh. There's a lot more to that story.
Oh, really? And he had a reward for $1,500 or something. Anyway, so Susan Powter, Darth Vader, walks over to the corkboard where there's a sign that says, you need, whatever it says, Yolo County says you need to have a mask. Masks required, whatever it says. And by the way, this sign is falling down because 2 thumbtacks are missing. So this sign is barely up. And she walks over to the sign and she points to the sign with the same index finger. This sign says you need to have a mask to be in here. Again, Raj. Befuddled.
Terrified, I'm sure.
Yes. Scared as all get out. Back to mumbling something. and then I get she caught what he said. Again, I didn't catch what he said, but it was something about the mask. I think it was something, well, based on what she said, because I know what she said next. But he said something like, "What kind of mask do I need?" or something. He was being genuine and serious. He wasn't being a smart ass.
He's innocent.
He wasn't being sarcastic. So, but I'm not sure. Like, dude, this is like almost 2 years now. What are you talking about? What kind of mask? But that's what he said. But I missed what he said. But then what she said is, I don't know what kind of mask you need, but you need to go home and get a mask. And so Steve, just heartbroken, shamed, bullied by Darth Vader, he kind of grabs his phone, playing some lovely sitar music or whatever, and he leaves. Now, Susan Powter then leaves. Like, literally a minute after he leaves, she leaves. So he did as she requested, and then she leaves right away. So she wasn't going to work out, or canceled her workout, or I don't know why she left so quickly.
She just wanted to be a bully.
Yeah.
She didn't even go there to weightlift.
Yeah.
I wish I had been there.
Yeah.
Because I swear to you, I would have said something to her. I don't care that she wants people to wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
But her delivery is so rude.
Yes.
And it's always been rude.
Yeah.
That's why I was irritated when it was just you and I a month ago or so, when she came in and was rude.
Yeah.
Because you can say, hey, do you guys mind putting on masks while I'm in here with you?
Mm-hmm.
You can say it in any number of ways that is totally polite, nice, fine.
Yeah. She's
so rude about it.
Yeah, and the pointing. It makes you feel bad, or like you're gonna give her the frickin' Delta variant in 3 seconds or whatever. Like,
you don't point at someone and speak sternly to them, especially a stranger, especially a young lad like Steve.
Yeah. So what would you say if you were Susan Powter, honey?
I'd say, hey, excuse me, you're supposed to wear a mask while you're in here.
Okay.
Do you mind could you put one on, please?
Yes. Yes, I would. I mean, no, I don't mind putting on a mask. Hey, you're pretty. Are you married? Okay. So that all goes down, and I was like, the whole time, like that meme or the animated GIF where the guy's just eating popcorn, like, well, I'm eating popcorn for this. This is good stuff. I came back and told you this whole tale. I couldn't wait to tell you what went down. So I think it's very telling that this is Monday. I have not seen Steve at the gym since. So he got discouraged. He got frightened, and he doesn't want to go back and face the carnage of Darth Vader. After
my anger kind of came down from when you first told me the story, this was my next thought immediately, is now he's not going to come back. She scared him away. Yeah. And he was just starting to bloom. Right. He was starting to come into his own. He was getting more comfortable.
He was getting inspired by my shoulder routine and my deep, manly bass voice. Yes. And now it's all gone out the window. Well, what if Steve gains weight and becomes obese and ends up at Hometown Buffet by himself with a newspaper, honey? It's Susan Powter's fault. One more note. So Steve leaves, Susan Powter leaves. I'm in there by myself just for a few more minutes. But then Kathy, I won't say her last name, but she's our HOA lady. She's like a head top dog or whatever. She comes in to put something on the corkboard, take old sign down, put a new sign up. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention. But she walks in, no mask.
And by the way, she never wears a mask.
She never wears a mask.
And we've seen her indoors many times.
Yep.
So,
yeah, that's that.
Is she going to get yelled at next by Susan Powter?
But, so well, you said how you would phrase it differently, but would you have spoken up? You would have said, you don't need to talk to him like that?
Oh, yes, because it's one thing for her to talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might be a minor.
Yeah.
He's a young little innocent fellow.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said to her, you do not need to speak so rudely to him. You could ask him nicely. You could... I would have said something like that. Because it's like she's talking to one of my kids.
Yeah.
I feel protective over Steve.
I wish you would have done that. I wish I would have had my phone. I want to know what her reaction would be. Would she just feel flustered and walk out? Or would she be combative? Or, oh, this is good stuff. I'm going to be there with the popcorn, honey.
It might have led to a fist fight. Who's to say?
Wow. I need to know this because we don't bring our phone to the gym, honey. But in this case, I'll bring my phone to the gym. And by the way, I'll film landscape, not portrait, okay?
Yeah, you better.
But if you're out there filming fights at Walmart or whatever, put your phone in landscape, okay? It's a wider picture. I'm not asking you to be Christopher Nolan, but think about the audience, okay? I think maybe if she like made a peace offering with Steve, like, how long are you going to be here? Are you almost done? Or like, I'm only going to do one set. Again, she left right away, but I'm going to do 2 sets. I'll be here for 10 minutes. Can you step out for a little? I think that would have been okay. But yeah, her tone, her manner, it's
just so rude.
She's not a pleasant person. But I think she left because I watched the whole thing. I think she left in just shame and embarrassment over what happened.
Do you? Why?
Well, why else would she leave? She made a huge deal. Steve left, and then she bounces.
I don't. That is.
I think she saw me and my pectoralis majoris, honey, and how much I lift and how much I do on dumbbell flies. 15 pounds. I could do 20, but I'm not out here trying to injure myself. But I think she was embarrassed of how she conducted herself with a young Steve, impressionable Steve.
I wish that was true, but I don't believe it. I think she was just like was so gratified after being such a bully that she like was. She had to go home and celebrate. She posted on her Facebook Karen mom group or whatever. Hey guys, I just told off a 17-year-old boy. Anyways, all right. Well, and listen, that's our story, and you can think whatever you want to think. I'm not out here trying to get into the COVID, right, wrong. It's not about the mask.
Right.
It's about the way she talks to people.
Yeah. And it's about...
I'm pro-mask. I wear a mask everywhere I'm required to, and it doesn't bother me one bit.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll wear a mask forever. I'm
anti-mask, but I wear a mask wherever I'm supposed to.
And you don't complain about it.
Right. Right.
So that's really not the issue. It's just that you don't need to speak to anybody like that about any topic.
Right. Yeah.
You will achieve the same outcome by just not even being nice, just like being
respectful, courteous. Yeah.
What's that word that's like nothing? Like not
ambivalent.
Yeah.
Not fair and balanced. Unbiased. Yeah. Well, just straight. Just polite.
Just matter of fact, straightforward.
Yeah.
And oop.
Nonchalant, indifferent.
Something
like that.
I'll throw that in there.
And oop.
Alrighty. Well, that's the end of the program. It's been fun, but not really. Let's all try a little harder next time. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, review, and rate, or don't. Do whatever you want. You're a grown-up. Make your own decisions. Do what's best for your family. Please be sure to use our promo code for Audible. We don't have a promo code for Audible. Goodbye. I love you. We love you. We hope you have a good day today and tomorrow. And sure, I may have compared our neighbor to the gross, overly tan lady in There's Something About Mary, but I'm still a good person, and we're still good people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day/night. Bye-bye.
And and a oop.
Ooh!
We got chicken.
Is that crispy, juicy tender?